Alright, good morning, good day. This is the African Crypto Warlord show. I would just like to thank you guys for liking and subscribing. It is really helping the page. I can't thank you enough. So if you do find this information helpful, please do smash a like, leave a comment if you'd like me to pull out future targets for you. Like let's say there's hype numbers for XRP, like $3.34. Let's see if it's in the model, if it's on the 24-hour flashes or something like that, you know. Sweet. So what we're looking at here today is the 15-minute distribution cone, and this is Laplace distribution. So general idea being is it wants to be at the orange line until we print new AVR flashes, and if we don't print new AVR flashes, what that means is we're still in the trend to hit outliers, but if we're below the orange line, we're still active to come back and touch it. Okay, so this is still up here at like 47. We had a huge rush yesterday. I will say this coin went a lot further down than I thought it would. It should be on auto. There we go. So it went a lot further down than I thought it would, but it's obviously come off one of our Laplace distribution levels that we see playing out. Okay, so what am I going to do here in this analysis? I'm going to go through my procedure in how I go looking for trades, how I demarcate ranges, what are the things that I'm using. And it's generally, number one is setting up the volatility cones. As you can see, they slap. All right, so we have ranges, and all we want to know is usually if this is the middle range now, we want to know if we're going to get to that or that. So if I'm trading the 15-minute, I'll be looking just for three ranges. One range above current price action, one range below, and if we're close to it, so if we're stuck in between here, I'll throw on like a reverse wave trend so that I know where we are when we get stuck here. Oh, we're stuck at the reverse wave trend between these two bands. Okay, so I'm going to go cones, volatility, and then I'm going to range find. So today we're going to pretty much solely be looking at the right hand side of the screen, which is our Shannon Entropy and Pearson correlation. These candles, they won't load yet. As I drop down, you'll see them load, and the indicator underneath here, our standard entropy, will also load Shannon and standard. So 21 days says what? We have contraction positively correlated, expansion, that's fine. Contraction positively correlated. So it says 75% bear. Okay, so I'm writing this down. And then I'm going to go to the 14-day. So I start on XRP. To get the full look back, I'll use Poloniex, and then I want to see what Poloniex 14 days saying. So we have some expansion to the upside with negative drift, expansion to the upside with positive drift. So the 14 days 75% bull. All right, and then we're gonna go to XRP USDT. Oh, why is this taking an extra minute to load? Let me maybe just close the URL over here. Okay, so 14-day on Binance says the same thing, and then we're going to go to the 7-day. So I'll try to do this quick now. So contraction, that's negative drift. That's 100% bear. Bear, neg, NG, level that, ND, negative drift. Okay, 5-day. Come on. Okay, so we have to be paying attention now to Shannon Entropy and over here. So we have contraction. That's perfect. So the next best phase is PC to pretty much stay up in positive correlation, because we have this look back period, which will back it to help this one stay up with an expansion phase. So we see currently 100% neg drift ND on 5-day, but the next print is going to be hella sketch. Look for expansion, pause. Okay, so next best phase is to move into expansion phase from here, and if these are still up here, then this pumps. Okay, now 3-day says contraction, that says 100% bear. So now this is where I start to look for a little bit of a mean reversion play, because these high term time frames, they do line up. Obviously you can see that there's drag through, but general mean reversion to get them to see where they flash bullish. That's the next best place. So we have expansion over here. So what do we read here? We have a contraction in the trend to the downside now. So we've got to pay attention to this signal and look for a phase of mean reversion. Okay, so we have contraction is negatively correlated expansion. So that says there's a pump. This says there is negative drift. So this is the 24-hour is 50-50. It's 50-50. All right, so we might, just off of this, from what I can see, we might find our trend on the 90-minute. All right. Okay, so then we're going to do the 12-hour. Also, I have 24-hour cone, 6-hour cone, and a 15-minute cone that we're going to get into at the end of this. So we have over here, we have contraction, positive, positive. So this is 12 hours, 100% bearish through negative drift. So you will have to look to see if that's going to flick it into expansion to the downside, also negatively correlated, because the next best phase would be contraction, contraction, and by the time the next contraction candle comes through, you might expect these guys to be curling over. All right, 6-hour. It has negative drift, looking for a new trend, 100% negative drift, which is bearish, neg drift, cool, 3-hour. So we're going to look for points of failure and reasons on like what's keeping this price action up. Why haven't we had the follow through? Just looking at this candle, this up candle is a bit random. Okay, so we have contraction, contraction, also 3-day, 3-hour, but the 3-hour looks like it will be changing up in a minute here. Okay, so 3-hour is 100% negative drift. Right, so pretty much all the time frames except for the daily says down, the daily says sideways. Okay, now we'll start looking for our trends. So what I'm looking for here is exactly that, but the only way this will have continuation to the upside is if it can turn around this PC, which is so right now it's, I would say mean reverted, I'd say 75% bullish. Wait, that is contraction, that is expansion, that is expansion, contraction. Yeah, so that's 75% bullish. So we're going to look for anything on the lower term time frames to get us 75% bullish, to get us out of here. Okay, then we're going to do 45 minutes. 45-minute is looking for an expansion phase, both of them positively correlated. Hasn't really been front run as of yet. Just the fact that this trend, for it to find a new trend, is taking a very long time. Okay, so when it does rip, it's gonna rip, but that is 100% bullish, or 75%. There you go, 100% bullish at whatever price that was, a 442. 100% bull. I want to write that price down, 0.4423. So a 45-minute looks like will be the trigger. All right, 30 minutes is contraction. That's your positive drift. So that's sort of what's kicking that 45-minute into its next best mean reversion phase, and that is 100% bull with a sprinkle of positive drift. Positive D. 15. Contraction, not yet. Okay, so we're looking for a new trend, even though we have the green flash. So we have the green flash. The green, the little line goes green, but because I can see that the trend is right here, it does look like it has the opportunity for a little bit of continuation out of here. Let's just go back up on our 5-minute contraction. Yeah, that should back us up. Any selling pressure coming in through here is looking for a new trend. Random candle to the downside. So we'll look for confirmation. Extra random now that they're dumping it. Contraction, positive correlated. So we just have a little bit of skew here. That's your down, looking for a trend, and if it stays here, it trends to the downside. So now we're going to go play on the 24-hour cone. What we can see here is that if we were to put up a range, we can see that yesterday we were actually up here. Looking to hold above this, and if we did hold above it, it would have mean reverted our daily, and then we just had destruction to the downside. So from top to the bottom of that range is pretty much 11.5%. And then if I was to switch those off, turn on, okay, so that's this market. So we have 46 cents, 36 as a top range. Then we have 41, 42, 0, 41, 42 as a bottom range. And now we're going to go put on a 6-hour cone. And our 6-hour cone is, as you can see, is pretty much in between these two ranges. Alright, so this top range says 52, this is 44, and that is 37. And now these are big moves. So what am I looking for here? I want to put on reverse wave trend and see, okay, our mean is still in the middle here. We haven't necessarily had full continuation to the downside, as our reverse wave trend hasn't crossed through the cone as of yet, right? As you can see, shit gets a little wild when that stuff happens, when we cross through cone levels. So we'll wait for that, and then 6 hours, that will be the new daily. So maybe a little bit of liquidity here, depending on either direction that we go from here. We want to tag that place again. 6 hour, and then we have a 15-minute cone. And our 15-minute cone says if we hold above here, we continue to this side of the cone, which is mean reversion phase. This has luckily been able to sort of keep itself in the trend, but the next time we get denied from here, the more we get denied from the bottom side of this reverse wave trend, the harder it is to keep the lower term time frame reverse wave trend. And when they disembark from each other, you have some knife catching or knife throwing to be doing, as you can see here, when they disembark from each other. So that's what you want to look out for. You want to have the bottom one come through this jaggedy line, then you'll be bullish. If this top one falls through, then you'll be bearish for longer term, or quick short scalp to the downside if that falls through. Alright, so now we have demarcated our ranges. We know that if we close above here, we're bullish. If we close below here, we're bearish. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to go look for magnets. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to say, what do we have here? We have a little bit of a range forming over here. I'll demarcate it with some circles. So we have a little bit of a range forming over here. Why? We have a VRE level and a bullish point for like 15-minute denying of mean reversion plays here, and a wick catch. Alright, there you go, we're coming in. That will be our range. Let me just make that big, take this tool off, and the general idea being is you break through this reverse wave trend, expect the wick here. But what pushes us through, there you go, what's happening here is it wants to make sure it can't. So here's the possibilities. Because it's below the mean over here and it's crossing down, what that tells me is there's a place for the bears to put in a bullish div and deny this mean reversion phase. We have expansion to the downside, so that's gonna carry us to the orange line. What you have to look for is when this PC crosses through, does it dump to this one? And then if it holds here and the next print comes through, look for positive drift. So right now it has still in dump mode, nothing has changed. Alright, let me go make some regions and some targets. So that's our first range that we're looking to fight for, that we just demarcated over here. It's our first range that you're looking to fight for. Alright, either which way, you start closing below this thing with that SAP that looks like it can run through, you're looking at any one of these levels to the downside. Alright, you start closing above, let's be a little bit more generous because there's been some serious selling. You start holding above your daily mean. Alright, you have the opportunity to wick into these things and build divs to get you up into your weekly mean. From there might be a little bit of a front run and look for initial scalp here. But we've got to make sure that this percentage difference to catch that scalp of 2% to the upside, or we'll just do the circumstance right now, or to catch that, you got to make sure that this 2% move doesn't flick that 45-minute time frame that we're looking at into a raging bull. Right, blue flashes off, returns it to the upside, looking for mean reversion. So when you get up into these regions, does it push this guy very bullish? Because this is where you're gonna start to have your lower trends come from. We know that everything is bearish until we get to this 45-minute mark, and it stays bullish if it stays above 44.23 cents. All right, 23 cents. That's literally right here. That's below this reverse wave trend. So I hope this was helpful. If you did enjoy it and you find that this helps reduce the FOMO, please do like and subscribe. Much love. African Warlord out.